Hello everyone, it's me, Hydro King. And I just want to say, Happy April Fool's Day! Now, what's so special about this day? Well, I'm going to be doing an April Fool's What If. And it's based on Pokemon. And the title for this What If: What if Pikachu beat Hitmonchan? You'll see what I mean. But for those of you who are aware, this is the episode where Pikachu takes up boxing. Yeah. And Ash thought it was a good idea to have him fight against the Hitmonchan and beat it. Yeah, it didn't turn out that way. But, in this silly what if, we're going to see what happens if Pikachu actually did win that fight. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, like in canon, we see a Hitmonchan running along a route, training. Of course, Ash, Misty, and Brock see this, and they discover that it's a Hitmonchan. And Ash wants to catch one, thinking that it's a wild Pokemon. And of course, he gets the strange idea of teaching Pikachu how to box. How does Ash know how to box? I don't know. Must have watched it on TV or something. Anyway, Ash says that he believes that Pikachu can do this. But of course, Pikachu's thoughts say otherwise, as we see a dream sequence where the poor little guy is knocked out by a Hitmonchan in a boxing ring with lights and a crowd. But Ash assures him that he's going to teach him some moves that will help him out. Of course, this would lead into the fight. So, as the fight is about to begin, we see Ash alongside Pikachu. And Pikachu is wearing boxing gloves. Now, where did Pikachu and slash or Ash get these gloves? Who knows? Ash had them stored somewhere for some reason. Anyways, back to the fight. Misty rings the bell, and Ash tells Pikachu to jab and uppercut this Hitmonchan. But of course, like in canon, he says, "Don't underestimate Pikachu, Hitmonchan. We'll beat you." Of course, Hitmonchan is confused at all this, thinking that this will be an easy fight. Of course, like in canon, it goes how you would usually expect to, with Hitmonchan at the advantage. Of course, Ash pulls out his secret technique, the Rocket Punch. And of course, Ash says, "Pikachu, use that move I taught you." Pikachu powers up, and he launches the Rocket Punch. And it lands square on Hitmonchan. Now, here's where the biggest change happens. Instead of, Pikachu landing the punch and celebrating way too early, Ash then begins to say, "Alright, Pikachu, use that other move I taught you." And of course, it's this move. Ash says, "Thunder Barrage." Of course, we see Pikachu throwing a flurry of punches at Hitmonchan. And of course, Ash tries to catch it with a Pokeball. He throws it, but Hitmonchan knocks it away. And of course, Ash and his team find it odd. But then, Anthony comes up. "Hey, what are you doing, Hitmonchan? You're letting a pipsqueak Pikachu beat you like that? Now get serious. Knock him out." Of course, from Pikachu feeling confident to him getting nervous, as he's being pelted by all these punches from Hitmonchan. But it's not over yet, as Pikachu has enough energy to still get back up and fight. And of course, this fight continues like normal, but unlike in canon, it's more of a fair fight, surprisingly enough, with Pikachu landing some hits and Hitmonchan landing some hits. But of course, Ash tells Pikachu to use one last Rocket Punch to take down Hitmonchan. And of course, Pikachu knocks down Hitmonchan. And then Ash states, "I declare Pikachu the winner!" And of course, Pikachu is shocked. He's surprised that this even worked. That he was the one to win, not Hitmonchan. But of course, he ignores the confusion and celebrates along with his buddy Ash. Of course, Anthony, he's pissed about this, not too happy about it, and he's kind of scolding Hitmonchan for letting his guard down. Of course, this is where Rebecca comes into the scene, where she says, "Dad, please come home." And Anthony says, "I'll come home once I become the P1 Grand Champion." Of course, Rebecca feels saddened by this. And of course, Brock, being Brock, says, "Why, hello, little lady. Do you need some help?" Rebecca then states that she wishes that her father can come home and spend time with her. And then, of course, this leads into Rebecca asking a favor from Ash and his gang into beating her father's Hitmonchan. Of course, Brock agrees, saying that they'll gladly help. Ash and Misty are very confused at this, but they agree nonetheless. So, they head over to the Fighting Spirit Gym that is owned by Rebecca and her father, Anthony. They state that it's not quite how a standard Pokemon gym is. Of course, Brock sees a poster of the P1 Grand Prix tournament, and he asks, "What's that all about?" And Rebecca then states, "It's a tournament where fighting Pokemon go to compete, see who comes out on top." Of course, Brock is interested in this, and he's like, "Ash, don't you have a fighting type Pokemon that you have?" And Ash goes, "Oh, yeah, I do. Primate." But of course, he thinks about this, saying that while he does have a fighting type Pokemon for him to compete in the P1 Grand Prix tournament, he's not so sure that he could trust Primate to behave himself, especially in a setting like this. So, as Pikachu and Hitmonchan are having their fight, one of Ash's Pokeballs begins to rumble and drops to the floor. And from that, pops out Primate, who is looking really mad for some reason. But of course, this doesn't last for too long, as that anger turns towards confusion, as he sees Pikachu and Hitmonchan boxing each other for some reason. He just finds it odd. He's not even angry. He just stands there and watches. And of course, Ash in the game being fearful, Ash returns Primate back into his Pokeball. And that Primate won't even listen to Ash and his commands. But Brock says, "Don't worry. You're not going to go at it alone. I will also compete with my Geodude." But then this leads into another thought that pops up in Ash's mind. Well, you know what? I'm not going to use Primate. I'm going to use my buddy Pikachu. Of course, Pikachu's confused. "Pika?" And, of course, Misty's like, "Ash, are you sure?" And Ash is like, "Of course, why not? Didn't you see what happened? Pikachu won. And he was able to beat Hitmonchan before. Who's to say he can't do it again?" And Misty's like, "I suppose so." And then Ash says, "Wait a minute. Ah, man, that's right. The rules say it's only for fighting types, huh?" Rebecca then begins to say, "Well, there is exceptions. It's not just limited to fighting type Pokemon. and she pulls out the rules. The rules state, if a Pokemon is bipedal or is capable of fighting using fighting type moves or just being capable of using martial arts, any kind of martial arts, then they're allowed to compete. So, essentially, the change I made in the story is that any Pokemon compete as long as they're not quadrupeds or, Pokemon that don't have any limbs. But if they do, and if they're bipedal and can use any martial art or use fighting type moves, then it's fine. So yeah, just to clear things up. So with that, Ash and the gang are ready to head out, along with Rebecca, in order to fulfill their promise to defeat Anthony's Hitmonchan in the P1 Grand Prix tournament. Of course, Team Rocket gets wind of this P1 Grand Prix tournament, and they look at the prize, the P1 Grand Belt. And it is said that if anyone wins this belt, they're going to get a huge sum of cash. Of course, Team Rocket is interested in this, and they decide to compete. And they say that they don't have any fighting type Pokemon to compete in this tournament. Of course, this is where Jesse then begins to say that they'll just steal a fighting type Pokemon in order to compete in this tournament. Of course, this would lead into Team Rocket stealing this guy, the trainer named Giant, to Hitmonlee and steal his clothing. Yeah, they're that desperate to get some money. Anyways, we have it over to the P1 Grand Prix tournament. So, as Ash and Brock head over to the P1 Grand Prix tournament, they use the Pokemon that they have for this tournament. For example, Brock uses his Geodude, and Ash will use his Pikachu instead of Primate because, well, he just doesn't trust Primate right now. Anyways. And of course, we have Anthony with his Hitmonchan and Team Rocket with their Hitmonlee. Anyways, let's get into the battle. So the first matchup is Machop versus Pikachu. Now in this fight, with Pikachu feeling confident now in his abilities, he feels like he could take on this Machop, considering that he's his size and all. But here's the thing, this Machop is quite tough. So the fight begins. Pikachu throws a couple of jabs and uppercuts his way. A few of them land, but hardly any of them seem to phase Machop. So, Pikachu decides to pull out some super moves that Ash taught him, such as the Thunder Barrage, which did more damage to him. But of course, Machop goes on the offensive with his own attacks by throwing a flurry of karate chops at Pikachu's way. Pikachu's still up, but he's kind of badly injured a bit. So, Ash then decides to give Pikachu the go-ahead for the Rocket Punch. And shock. Big shock, Machop was able to catch it. And then, Machop uses Seismic Toss on Pikachu. Of course, Ash runs over to catch Pikachu, and the fight continues. And it would eventually lead to Pikachu winning this battle. After this, a few fights happen. Not so much fights, but more like montages of what happens. Pikachu is able to win. Anthony's Hitmonchan is able to win. Stuff like that. Of course, we get the fight between Team Rocket's Hitmonlee and Brock's Geodude. Like in canon, Brock loses due to forfeit, and then moves on to Anthony's Pokemon, Hitmonchan. Now, Of course, like in canon, Team Rocket cheats in this fight. Big surprise. And then proceeds to have Hitmonlee beat down on Hitmonchan. Of course, Rebecca steps in to save Hitmonchan, but Anthony also steps in to save Rebecca. Of course, this would lead to Anthony forfeiting the fight, and now it is up to Ash and his Pikachu to defeat Team Rocket's Hitmonlee. Now, of course, Team Rocket does their usual little intro, but they find themselves confused and sort of laughing as they say, "Do you think your little pipsqueak Pikachu is going to beat our Hitmonlee? Kid, no way a Pikachu can learn how to box that good." Jesse says. James also replies, "Yes, our Hitmonlee is going to demolish your Pikachu in this fight. We won't have to cheat." Of course, Meowth steps in the picture. "Yeah, that's right. Pikachu may be special, but he ain't special in the P1 Grand Prix tournament. So you might as well give up now." Of course, Ash and Pikachu don't take this lightly. And Ash says, "We'll beat you, Team Rocket. Whether or not it's Primate or Pikachu, we'll always be able to beat you." Of course, the fight proceeds, and it is a very difficult fight. Way more difficult than the Hitmonchan fight. But, of course, Ash's Pikachu is about to give up. Using the skills he's learned over the course of this episode. And of course, just when it seems like Hitmonlee is about to be the victor in the P1 Grand Prix tournament, Pikachu looks to Ash and he says to him that if it's okay to use the other move that Ash taught him. Of course, Ash is like, "Really? You want to use that move now? But I barely taught it to you." But of course, Pikachu gives him a determined look. Ash nods his head. "Alright, Pikachu. I believe in you." And Pikachu, he goes, "Pika! Pikachu!" And so, when Hitmonlee and Pikachu have their final confrontation, just when Hitmonlee is about to throw a flurry of kicks at Pikachu, Pikachu pulls out this move, the Lightning Uppercut. And with this move, he's able to win and knock out Hitmonlee. And this would make Pikachu the P1 Grand Prix Tournament champion with a shiny new belt. Anyway, we cut over to Ash in the game with Anthony, Rebecca, and Hitmonchan. And Anthony says to Ash, "Hey, your Pikachu's got some talent, kid. Why don't you have him come train with me? And I could turn him into a real champion. Not just P1 Grand Prix, but a boxing champion. He's got potential." Of course, Ash and Pikachu are surprised at this. And Ash says, "Wow, Anthony, that sounds really great, but I want to talk to Pikachu first, if you don't mind." "Of course." So, Ash and Pikachu begin to talk to each other. And Ash states, Pikachu, I'm really glad that you've gotten so far and you've become so much stronger throughout this journey. Heck, you picked up boxing pretty quick." And Pikachu blesses, "Pika, Pika." But Ash starts to get sad a little bit. And Pikachu's confused and he asks, "Why are you sad?" And Ash is like, "It's nothing. I'm just worried that I won't get to see you for a while." that, I don't know, I would feel lost if I didn't have you by my side. But then Pikachu begins to say, just imagine him saying in his Pikachu voice, "It's okay, Ash. You don't need to worry. In fact, I think this is a great opportunity for both of us to get stronger." And Ash is surprised at this. Really? So, you're okay with us separating for a while? Pikachu nods. Of course. In fact, I want to learn more from Anthony. I want to see how far I can go with this. And, heck, I want to see how far you go without me. Maybe you'll get stronger in your own way. Ash is like, I guess so. Alright, buddy. If you're okay with this, then I'm okay with this. And of course, before they separate, Ash begins to say, "Hey, Pikachu. Pika? Just remember one thing. Just because you're my bud, I won't go easy on you when we see each other again. In fact, I want both of us to fight." And Pikachu is shocked, but he agrees. And Pikachu begins to say, alright. So you think you're gonna go easy on me, huh? Well, maybe I should go easy on you." And Ash is like, "Oh, really? You think you're gonna go easy on me? We'll see about that, bud. Just you wait." Pikachu then says, "Oh, I will be. But, nevertheless, I'll be seeing you, Ash." And so, both of them look at each other for a while, and they both give each other a big hug. So, Ash and Pikachu returns to Anthony, and Ash says, "Okay, Anthony, I'll let you train Pikachu. But just make sure he gets all the training, because I'm really competitive when it comes to this thing." "You got it, kid. I'll make sure he lives up to your expectations. Heck, might even surpass them." "Oh, I bet." And with that, Ash and Pikachu go their separate ways, at least for a while. Now, the next part I want to cover is Ash and Primate. Now, while Primate showed up only a little bit in this episode, I want to go over a few things. First of all, what's going to be happening? Well, over the course of these few episodes, before Ash returns to Pikachu, he's going to try and work with Primate. And hopefully get him to listen and understand why Primate's the way he is, and hopefully bond with him. Hopefully. So the episodes go like in canon, but without Pikachu. Instead, it's mostly just Primate doing his thing and Ash trying to understand him. Eventually, they do come to an understanding of one another. Heck, I might add a few changes, such as having an episode where, Ash saves Primate. And of course, this would lead into Primate trusting Ash and believing in him and starting to like him as a friend. Same thing for Ash. So they begin talking to each other, understand each other, and winning a lot of battles. So, even though the episodes go like in canon, it's more so going in the favor of Ash. And him getting strong in his own way. Of course, we would then come back to an episode to where Ash and the gang meets up with Anthony in the Fighting Spirit Gym to see Pikachu again. Of course, Ash and Pikachu look at each other and they're so glad to see each other again and start giving each other hugs, big ol' hugs. And, surprisingly enough, Anthony gave Pikachu some new clothing, complete with gloves, shorts, and boots. So Pikachu pretty much looks like the complete boxer. So, of course, Anthony's like, "It's great to see you, Ash. I've been training Pikachu really hard. And I even taught him a couple of moves. I hope you're ready for this match." Ash shakes his head. He nods his head. "You bet. I can't wait to see what you learn, Pikachu. In fact, I can't wait to show you my new skills. And primates. You see, I've gotten stronger too." And Pikachu replies, "Pika Pika Choo!" Basically saying, "Alright, let's see what you got, Ash." And so, in this episode, this is what it's all about. Who's going to come out on top? Primate that Ash is bonded with? Or Pikachu? And here is where we're going to cut things off. I know, it's kind of a cliffhanger, but still. It's April Fool's. You gotta have a little suspense. And don't worry, there's going to be a part 2 to this. And hopefully wrap things up. At least for now. Who knows, I might come back to this what if scenario. But anyways, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys like this April Fool's Day what if. I thought about it, worked hard at it. And again, I must apologize to you guys. I really don't want to be late with my upload schedule when posting my videos. But I've been going through some stuff, having internet problems. I don't really know what's going on. But hopefully you guys enjoy my videos. And thank you for being patient with me. I really do. I've said this time and time again. I really do work hard on my videos. Even like this one. I just don't want to give you a, I guess, crappy product. So, that being said, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And with that being said, this is Hydro King signing out.